Hi, I'm Jackie, and I'm your virtual life coach focusing on grief recovery. Why grief recovery? Well, 13 years ago, my daughter, my only child, Dawn, died after giving birth to my third grandchild. I was utterly devastated, and it really literally destroyed my life. I started drinking and smoking and getting high, and that was my way of coping with the grief instead of doing it in a healthy way. I would started making bad decisions, bad life decisions. I quit my job because I just didn't have the motivation or the energy to work anymore. And I lived off my savings until that was gone. And then I ended up homeless and moving in with a relative. That's when I knew that I really had to do something to get my life together, and I just didn't know what to do. And so I hired a life coach, and that's why I'm so passionate about life coaching, because it really is transformational, and it can help you to figure out your purpose in life and to set goals for yourself so that you can recover from grief. Anybody can recover from grief, but it has to be done in a healthy manner, not like I did it. So, with the help of my coach, I decided to do a website. And that website is called grief2joy.com. And that's grief, the number two, joy.com, where I share my thoughts and feelings and my experiences with grief so that other people can benefit from that. I also give tips and tools and even recommendations for things that people can do to help them to get through the grieving process quicker than I did. I really suffered a lot for about a year and a half during the early part of my grieving process, and I didn't handle it well at all. And I can tell you that you can have hope, you can have purpose, and you can have a normal life, and you can bounce back from grief. And it's not something that has to consume you or define you and define like the person that you're going to be, but it can help you to decide who you want to be in a world without your loved one. We all grieve differently, and this is not a cookie cutter type of thing. Everybody grieves differently. There's no timelines for it. Everyone has to do this at their own pace and in their own way. So in these videos, I'm going to be giving some tools and some recommendations, just some tips and things like that, and also sharing my experience as to how I did it wrong and how I'm going to show you how to do it right. And so through that, I'm really hoping, I'm very hopeful, and I'm almost sure that you will find something that you can use here. And you might not be able to use everything, so just take what you can use and leave the rest for someone else. And I'm sure that you will be better through these videos. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is sharing your feelings. Because when I was going through my initial grieving process, I didn't share my feelings with anyone. I would go to family gatherings. I would, you know, pick up my grandkids, spend time with them, and all that, and did everything normal, going out with friends and laughing and acting normal. People would ask me how I was doing, and I'd say I was doing fine, knowing that I wasn't. And then I would go home alone, and I would drink, smoke weed, and cry myself to sleep every night. That was not healthy. And the way that you can get through this easier is to share your feelings with people. When someone asks you, how are you doing? Be honest with them. If you cried yourself to sleep last night, tell them that. And ask people, and you can also ask people, can you call me, once a week, and so I can have somebody to talk to, if you don't already have somebody to talk to. But you have to share your feelings. If you're feeling sad, say you're feeling sad. And tell them why you're feeling sad. And also, on the other side of that, if you know somebody and you're dealing with a friend or a family member or someone who is grieving, you can ask them those questions to draw their feelings out. And don't worry about crying. So often people are apologize for their tears, and we don't want to talk to a person who is grieving, about their grief or about their loved one, because we're afraid that it might make them cry. But crying is part of the healing process. It's a release, and it's like you lessen your feelings of grief by crying. And we know we've all had situations where we had a really good cry and how much better we felt afterwards. That's part of the healing process. So don't be afraid to bring someone to tears, because that is healing. Also, um, when you're dealing with someone who's going through grief, when they just ask them one question about their loved one, and they'll talk for 30 minutes. Let them talk. Let them get those feelings out, and it might bring them to tears, and that is perfectly fine. So, one important, very, very important thing is to get those feelings out, get those tears out, and to express yourself. Okay, I'm going to end this video right now, and so visit my website, grief2joy.com. Also, I have a Facebook page, which is Grief to Joy. That's grief, the number 2, joy. And also come back and watch my video series, because I'm going to be talking a lot more about grief. Thank you.